We're rolling.
We're rolling.
Dude, how long has it been?
I don't know, man.
Was it before Christmas?
I don't think so. I think we saw each other like a couple weeks after Christmas.
Did we?
The beginning of January, but it's been over a month, I believe.
I want to see when the last video is on the channel.
We have the base build video, but it's not up there yet because I was finishing editing it when I got sick.
That's right.
So,
which is why we haven't seen each other.
Yes,
because I
had a bad time.
You got sick,
real sick.
This dude didn't when we were like moving before, like so. The last one went up January 8th, and we basically talked to each other like at least every other day up to that point. So this dude stopped answering texts and phone calls for like a week, and I'm like, I either did something to piss him off or he's dead. And the answer was he was almost dead.
Almost dead. Yeah. It was a bad time. Had a awful fever for a few days, like the kind where I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't even like watch TV or anything because like I couldn't just absorb anything. And I thought I was feeling better. And I got up after a few days of that to attempt to do some virtual lessons still so I can keep at least, that schedule going. And all of a sudden, started feeling kind of nauseous and drunk. And I went to the bathroom. And then that's kind of all I remember. And then my Kara, she was home working and she heard a loud crash. And she came in and my eyes were open. I was twitching. My head was bleeding. I was just on the ground and like
was it a seizure, like twitching?
No, thankfully not a seizure. They call it a vasovagal syncope. Vasovagal syncope.
That's above my pay grade.
Me too, man. But I guess it's the same thing that happens when people faint when they see blood and such, which has never happened to me. But the short of it is the doctors say that it was a perfect storm of I have a just naturally super low heart rate, and I had been in bed for a couple of days with the fever, and then I had probably like done some kind of clenching in my abdomen when I started to feel nauseous that triggered my vagal nerve, which drops the heart rate even lower. And then I just decided to fall asleep standing up.
Gosh. So your blood pressure probably just dropped super fast.
Yeah, something happened.
I'm saying this like I know what the heck I'm talking about. I don't either. But so I went to the ER, obviously, had some firefighters in my house and some paramedics coming through and bro.
They took me. I had a gash in my head, but thankfully not bad enough to get staples or anything. And the doctor that came by, she was like, "We can give you staples, or you can let me MacGyver this shut." And so she used like my own hair as sutures and then glued it.
What?
Yeah, it was weird, but didn't have to get staples.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it sounds like something you see on a TV, dude. Thank God she was home.
For real. Yeah. It was a wicked experience, but my doggos were there licking me, trying to wake me up. And it was a really strange experience. I've never passed out or fainted or anything before. And it truly felt like when I came to, it felt like I was just taking a nap. Like I feel like I was dreaming and everything. But
so did you come to in the hospital?
No, I came to on the bathroom floor as Kara was on the phone with with 911, and I was like just wicked confused, not in like a stupor kind of way, just like why am I on the ground? Like I knew my name and everything. I didn't have any kind of concussion. They checked me for concussion and blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. And everything was fine and normal. Even my blood pressure by the time the paramedics were there, everything was normal. So
that's even more confusing.
Yeah. But the doctors were like, it's not a big deal. It just happened because of all the other things.
Just basically telling you happens. Sorry.
Exactly. So, piece of advice, it's not true medical advice, but try not to have a terrible fever for a few days and then pass out and hit your head. It's usually not a good thing.
Man. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Yeah. And at least now I know if you don't answer phone calls, it's because you're dying.
Yeah, it was a strange few weeks for sure. But
if you don't answer calls or texts, I'm just gonna start calling hospitals.
Is Josh here? I haven't heard from him for a day or two.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Feeling like all my faculties are back in order and stuff.
Let's get your faculties on tenure so they don't go anywhere again.
That would be great. I'd take tenure. Jeez. Even just mental tenure. But how have you been, man? How has February been treating you?
Good.
Yeah?
Pretty good. Just cruising along, bunch of new clients that I hadn't worked with before, doing a ton of mixing, a lot of mastering, and yeah, looking forward to a busy schedule here next month. So
do you have a preference between the two, between mixing or mastering?
No, they're very different, and
Right.
I approach them very different. I don't think I have a preference. I think either one, if you have the contingency of, if you know what the artist is after, then both of them are equally fun in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing is definitely a lot more work and figuring out like how to get from point A to point B with all these extra curves, and here's the notes that are over in left field. And like,
Right. Literally in left field.
Yeah, mastering is definitely easier because, I mean, you may get notes back and you may have to make an adjustment, but you're typically just polishing things in a way that most clients don't really comprehend or understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not on a level of like a really, really good mastering engineer. I provide mastering. I'm not like top tier by any stretch of the imagination. But even at that point, like, it's just a different relationship with somebody. It's almost like most of the time they just accept what you give them. So it's on you to really make sure you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Hey, can you polish my car in comparison to, can you replace my transmission?
Yeah.
And also like soup up everything else?
Yeah. Like there's a fair bit of trust in that last step. Like just because so many people don't understand what it is and how many things go into it.
Mm-hmm.
And you literally are the last step of QC before that thing goes to distribution.
Yeah.
So hopefully you've listened to the artist and what they want to accomplish as far as like loudness, different things that they like. What distribution methods are you using? And where mixing is, I mean, there's still a lot of those things at play, but it's very different because you're contributing in such a creative way, where mastering feels way more technical.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have all this creative information that you're pulling from, but it's definitely more technical, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm convoluted.
Yeah, you're kind of worried more about looking at the meters and understanding the medium that is going to be played through and how the mix will interact with that, as opposed to getting each layer to sit right and, you know, carve out holes for each individual part, because that should have been taken care of in the mixing process earlier.
And sometimes it's not. Like sometimes people don't know like what happens during a mastering stage. So I always try to tell them, like, whatever you're mixing into on your master fader, like tell me what that is and keep it on, unless it's a brick wall limiter and like it just gives me nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're mixing into a compressor, like that's a creative decision, and that's informing so many other relationships. Like if you have like an SSL style thing on your master fader, and you've got this snare drum on every 2 and 4, like your mix is going to pump with that snare in a really good way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get rid of it and send it to a mastering engineer, that relationship is completely different.
Yeah.
And what are the chances that they're going to pull up the same compressor with the same attack and release settings that you had?
Or even know that's the kind of vibe you're going for in the first place.
So there is nothing wrong. Like I'm actually stoked when people like really lean into something, as long as I have like this much headroom to play with. Like I can do my job.
So you don't want an ozone preset on the master chain.
I mean, that's a whole different discussion, because ozone is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it can definitely get you down a rabbit hole if all you're using it for is like the mastering assistant stuff, which can do a really good job.
I love it for demos and just like trying to bounce ideas across and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I before we get too far away, I wanted to ask you, when you are mastering, you might have different answers between if you do the mixing and mastering versus if somebody sends you a mix to master. Are there often times where you will revisit the mix before even going down the mastering path?
You mean if I'm doing both?
Either option. Like I could foresee if you're doing both, it's going to be a lot quicker and easier. If you're mastering, you're like, oh, I don't like the way this sits now that I'm kind of doing this to it. And I'm sure you've done it so many times over and over that you preemptively understand what you're looking for and how it's going to be affected when you're mastering it.
Yeah.
But what if somebody sends you a mix and your responsibility is just to master it? Will you send notes back of?
Yeah, every time. So I do that with literally everybody. I mean, as far as they want to take it. And even when we're having the discussion, like, hey, you might master this. Like, I'm still like, well, let me hear where the mix is at. Because then I'll give some feedback, like, ooh, there's a frequency in the bass and the kick. Maybe like that is maybe something that I can fix, but it's going to work so much better if you do it on the mixing stage. Yeah. So sometimes mastering is just as much mix consulting as it is mastering. Yeah. Because if you have that relationship with the mixer and they're okay to take that feedback like that, you get such a better project in the end. Because almost like the farther your fingers get into something as a mastering engineer, the more convoluted it can get. Because like it can really quickly turn into like you're mixing, and now you're making creative decisions, and now you're like manipulating things that you really shouldn't be. And I actually got myself into this like a couple weeks ago. Somebody hired me to master something, which is a really cool record, like instrumental, like ambient-ish, like I'll have to show it to you, like kind of like Russian circles.
So right
like,
down your alley then.
Yeah, I freaking loved the whole thing. But it's somebody recording himself at home who hasn't like done a ton. I mean, at least for distribution stuff. And I started giving notes, and then it kind of the conversation went to, well, let's try stem mastering, because there was some issues in like the relationship between some of the instruments. So we did a stem master, and then it turned into, well, I like what you're doing with the drums. Maybe let me give you more control over the drums. So here's all of the drum tracks individually. So now I'm mixing.
Right.
And I almost like, I knew what we wanted to accomplish, but I told him my number one concern here is that you've heard this one particular way. So if I go in and I do this, my biases and my own like musical tastes are going to come out naturally, because now I'm mixing. I'm not just mastering. And that happened. He was like, we came back and had a conversation actually yesterday, and he was like, now I know what's possible with these tracks, and I appreciate that we went down this road. But he's going to go back and remix everything, and I'm just going to do a traditional master. So, like, we kind of made a full circle, and he ended up being really happy.
Russian circle?
A full Russian circle. But that's one where, like, I tried to push against and be like, I don't want to go too far down this road as a mastering engineer, because you can definitely lose your own vision of the technical side of it if you get too far down the creative side. Now, I mean, there are definitely situations where I'm mixing and mastering and tracking. Yeah. And in those instances, I know people say, like, never do this. Don't master while you mix, but I definitely do it every single time. If I had my hand in a song from day one, it never goes specifically to a mastering session. I just do it all in the song file, basically.
Yeah, and I understand why you wouldn't want to do that. But on the other hand, if you understand how things are going to react, I could see it being a huge time saver, while also kind of opening up your ear to other creative possibilities and mixing possibilities in the moment, where if you had waited to do a full master and you didn't worry about the master chain at all, down the road, you're going to be kicking yourself and going back and doing more work, or thinking, oh, well, if we added this here, then it could make this part feel this way.
And that happens so much. Like, and for those listening, like, what I'm basically describing is a top down, like, mixing setup, mastering setup, where basically things start with your mix bus, and that absolutely happens. Like, every time I create a session, I pull in my talkbacks, my click, and my mix bus and my print. Like, and all that stuff is pretty much the same starting point every single time. And that gives me, like, I can hear it as I'm tracking it to pretty close to like a finished sound and finished loudness. Not exactly, but I've always done that. And it's really hard for me not to do that.
It's just the workflow that works for you.
Yeah, I like to hear it hitting a compressor and hitting a limiter, and not crazy, but like show me how this thing is going to pump with itself, and then that'll tell me, do I have like frequency conflicts that I need to resolve right now while I'm tracking it, rather than 2 weeks later when I can't.
Well, I mean, I can almost see it akin to, you can practice guitar or bass without an amp. But when you get the feedback from going into your amp or even different pedals and stuff, that's going to kind of determine how am I actually approaching this, and then also be a springboard into other ideas using those types of things. So it might be a little bit more drastic in that context, but I think it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I'll buy that. There's a new Wicked coming out. You see that?
There is a new Wicked coming out?
Yeah, my wife's pumped.
Interesting. I saw the original one when it came through the city years ago, and it was stellar. It was great.
That was I went and saw it at a theater in Indy. Really cool show. Movie's coming out. I'm excited.
Oh, so okay.
It's like one of those new Disney like remake movies, I guess.
So not a sequel of any kind, just
I don't know.
reimagining.
Not sure. What was that noise I just made? I don't know how to sit in front of a camera anymore.
Me neither.
We're out of practice.
Out of practice indeed.
Well, what last we filmed, wasn't it like late December?
I think so. I think that was the last time we were filming stuff. New year, new me.
Yeah.
Of not being able to sit in front of a camera.
Hey, you're entitled to a break.
I've been down and out. And I feel like I always take it to this place when we're sitting together. And I know there's not a lot of common ground here, but with you, there might be common ground. Jeremy, I have spent 100 hours in Pal World. Have you heard of Pal World?
Well, no.
It's one of those Vigi games that those kids are playing these days.
Okay.
The kind of meme title for it is Pokemon with guns.
I've seen this. Yeah, okay.
It is way too addictive. It is.
Could you capture people with this?
Allegedly. We nerded out real hard. Me and I think like 6 or 7 other people built a dedicated server, so it never goes down, and we're all playing on the world together. But that's how I've been spending my time. I've been so out of the loop with all the music happenings lately. I've been just making my pals slave away, mining ore.
Music is. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if we should talk about stuff or not. Oh, maybe not yet.
Is there any off-camera update other than what you told me yesterday? That'd be pretty cool.
There's one app I've wanted to talk about. We could do that.
Hit me.
Unless it's going to be like too much left field. Let me go grab it.
Oh, is it an appetizer?
So, this thing, if you've hung around this far, this is a freaking gem. So, I'm going to start a screen cap. Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Nice.
So, I have wanted a system of like controlling my main computer from my iPad for a long time.
This. Yes. Yeah.
And I found the gem. Because there's so many apps that are so expensive that do the same thing. Like there's Duet. I've tried out just about every display app and screen thing, as well as like Apple's native one. What is it?
I don't remember what it's called, but like essentially the remote desktop.
Yeah, Sidecar or whatever, but they never work. So I found Jump. It's literally, I think it's $7.99. At least that's what I paid.
Cue Van Halen's song here.
What?
Jump.
Oh. My computer's asleep right now. And
it just woke it up?
It just woke it up. Yeah, don't share this.
Gonna do a keylogger, share it to the world.
Need both hands for this.
His password is cutekittens887.
Damn you. All right. Now I'm on my computer. Don't make me look like an idiot right now. Is Pro Tools crashed in the other room? Is that what happened? But like, you can pull up this little bottom bar, and
it gives you like the function keys, and
I can search for like if I want to pull up my text messages or have it blow out into everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And if I think Pro Tools is just not happy right now, if that's what's happening, this is going to be.
We might have left it in a poor state. Jeremy was showing me some things in the control room earlier, and we scurried over here.
Of course, the one time I actually want to show this off, it's not working absolutely perfectly. Which I've used this thing in different states, and it's fantastic. Yeah, Pro Tools is like mid-crash right now. Well, I was doing some weird stuff with it in the other room.
This is
to
true.
be fair. But you can see how quickly you can like manipulate this stuff. Yeah, okay, there it goes.
Nice.
But my kids are listening to Bluey at home. There's Chattermax. But
did you just scare them? Did you just turn it back on when they were listening?
Yeah. So the cool part about it is you can like take the audio from your machine and put it through Jump, which will bring it through my iPad speakers. What I've been doing is when I'm setting up listening to like Pro Tools, I have a note on here with an Audio Movers link so I can pull up the stream from my phone and hear it in like lossless audio on my AirPods. So I'm not going to like mix a record that way, but if I'm getting notes back that are just like, hey, we need 2 more dB on the vocal, like tones are fine, the mix is good, here's some fixes. I can't tell you how many mixes I've done or fixes that way, like this, and it's saved me so much freaking time because I don't have to come back here and do it.
That's the Pro Tools on the iPad hack.
Yeah.
Now, this probably is there a way, because we've talked about hooking an interface to your iPad. Can you send audio to your actual desktop setup? Okay.
I mean, I could if I was on a completely different machine and doing it through like Audio Movers, doing a remote thing.
That's kind of where my head was going, because if you had a mobile rig and you get all the tracking done, or even just a demo of something, and you wanted to see what does it sound like if I send it through this piece of hardware that I've got back at the studio. There would be workarounds. You could Dropbox all the tracks, send them through. Yeah,
which is what I've been doing. Like if I'm getting different vocal parts to drop in on that big record that we just talked about that we can't talk about yet, that's what we were doing. I would get them in Dropbox, pop them in from a completely different state.
That's wild.
That's wild. And I can't show it right now because I just got the camera back because it had broken. Don't show this. What can I pull up? I don't want to pull up something I can't. It's hard to like figure it out at first, but then you're like, no, it's basically like I'm here at the studio. There's only a couple things that I can't do. But what I did while I was in a different state, I should have hooked it up so I could show you, but I could actually do it real quick. But I have like an Insta360 camera that I mounted to the front of my desk.
Yeah.
And so I pull that up as a window on my desktop, which I can pull up not like this. See, this is the hard part. You can search. If you do a search, you're searching your iPad. What you want to do is search your computer.
So you have to use you
have to hit the magnifying glass. So if I bring up my Insta360 link controller, camera's not hooked up yet, so it's not going to actually find a camera. But it'll pop up a little window right here which would feed me the video feed from my room. So what I had it doing is I programmed 2 different spots on my burls so I could look at the converters and see if the converters are clipping. And then I could look at the MVP to see how much gain reduction I have. And I know, like...
This is such a big brain studio.
The wild part about it is, like, I'm sure if you were, like, here sitting in the studio in pitch black, all of a sudden you see my camera going... and then Pro Tools controlling itself, and I'm 4 states away. Like, I was so pleased with myself that actually worked. And it has worked for months.
Now we just need to get you, like, the voice controlled or Google Home controlled lights in there.
Oh, man.
Turn them on and off when you log in.
I have basically everything on that, and I've got a few more pieces, but why does everything failed right now? Now that I actually want to show stuff. Oh, I'm not logged on to my internet.
Oh, that's right. You turned your Wi-Fi off earlier.
But like,
oh, so I didn't realize the whole studio was on that already.
Just not the overheads. I mean, I could even turn off the quasar behind us. Boop. Yeah, it got real moody in here. Let me turn all these back on. There we go. Boop. Boop. I love it.
It's that. This is a real quick pivot, but getting smart bulbs is one of the best low-cost investments I've ever made in my entire life. Just replacing as many lights in my house as possible with smart bulbs. Mm-hmm. I think we use these like $5 or $8 bulbs. They don't burn out because they're LED. Mm-hmm. You can change colors if you want to get all fancy with some RGB in there. And
turn on your Riz lights.
Yes. But it's just so nice. It's so, and I can just tell Google what I want or use my phone.
Yeah, the Riz lights.
The Riz lights, indeed.
See, I could talk like you kids.
What else is that's bass? I don't know what that one means. I've heard people say it. That's based. Like a turkey, like you baste a turkey.
Like, and it's pretty responsive.
That's quick.
It's very quick. And that gets no different wherever I am.
Well, I guess there's not a lot of data to be sent. The video data is going to be the highest bandwidth data that you have going on. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's just input. Yeah, and it's like having the audio movers to pull up and listen on my phone and with AirPods, which is not like the perfect listening environment, or you shouldn't be mixing a record just like that. You can get a lot of work done that way. But if you're just doing fixes and addressing notes, holy cow. Let's say you knew you were going to be vocational for a month or so, and you had hypothetical scenario, you're set up in an Airbnb for a month for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Bring a second set of monitors and a little interface to plug in. Could you then do audio movers on whatever machine, laptop or something like that, have that go out those monitors and get a real mixing type of experience that way?
Yeah, I mean, generally, like, your environment wouldn't necessarily be treated, but yeah, I mean, you definitely could.
Or even pull up to a friend's studio or something and pull up your whole session in there.
Yeah, you could totally do that. And I mean, basically, the only thing you can't do with it is give real-time input as far as, like, I want to record something into this.
For sure.
That person would have to be wherever that machine lives. Mm-hmm. But
or, like we said, record it on site.
Yes. Send
the file to studio computer.
Yeah, which you could totally do. It's an extra step, but it's definitely doable. But this has, like, I've barely touched my other computer. Like, that's always been the thing. Like, I need 2 super high-powered machines, one here because I have to be here, then one I could take with me if I ever need to do something on the road. And, now I need to install all those plugins and all those licenses again. Yeah. Well, now it just exists on one machine. I just can tap into that machine wherever I want. It's fantastic. And it works so freaking well. And it's so cheap.
A year from now, we're going to be talking about how Jeremy got all these DIY little motors, and then so he can change knobs on all of his hardware wherever he is in the world.
I definitely thought about, like, because I have the Super Arbitron in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, you can address that thing with servos. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Pause.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
I spent way too long looking at websites of how people program this thing, which is just a toy.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorite Christmas present I ever got when I was a kid. People are like rebuild these into like actual arms, and that's pretty. I've spent an embarrassing amount of time looking at that. A little dusty.
Oh, batteries are dead.
Oh yeah, and it takes like 17 D batteries.
Oh man, I am so sure if you dug far enough, there's someone out there that's gotten a Raspberry Pi and used like not Connects. What are the Legos that they use for like the little robotic stuff called?
Is it not Connects?
No, Connects aren't Legos.
Oh, I don't know.
Something like that though. And control them from wherever you are.
That'd be wild.
It would be insane.
I mean, all you have to do is program macros to be like, hey, just like the camera.
As long as the arm is stationary.
Yeah. I mean, like my camera, I have it like, okay, look here for this, look here for that. And it's just one button. Mm-hmm. You could definitely do that with some kind of arm and be like, I need one more dB on this knob 2. Mm-hmm. Go. Like,
have like... Get yourself one of those like Stream Decks and be like, okay, I want to go into this rack, and then all the different buttons, and the arm just goes. Probably take a hot second to set up, I would imagine.
See, this is all just so I can mix a record in like a Starbucks or something. Like, mm-hmm. Do we need all this? Probably not.
It's never about need.
But
it's about the desire.
Having this is super handy. Like if you have an iPad, and I think you can do it with like anything. I just use the iPad, but if you have a control surface and you can have like a keyboard and a mouse, like there's no reason not to pick this up. It's so darn cheap. If you need to do anything, like if you're a family guy and you have a studio or you just have pets, you want to go live your life somewhere else. There's no reason not. I sound like I'm sponsored.
If you have a second family and
if you're trying to hide something from your wife, I sound like I'm sponsored. I have no relationship to this company whatsoever.
It is very cool though.
Yeah, I found it because I was like, there's got to be a better. I have Duet, I think is what it's called, and it never worked. It was terrible. And then all the other options to find like over the air control were so slow. And then I saw on some forum people were talking about like animators over COVID were using this.
That makes sense.
And I'm like, if animators are doing it, like they need stuff pretty fast and they need to reference audio. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I looked into it. It's like $7 and nobody's talking about it. I don't know. Maybe everybody's talking about it. I just hadn't heard.
Man, Apple only, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, you download a desktop thing that stays installed on your machine, and there's a whole lot of like security things that you go through. So if you did see something in this, don't show my key.
Don't show Mikey?
Yeah, my key. My key.
But Mikey loves it. Or likes it. So you install the app on your desktop machine or whatever you're trying to remote into.
The target machine.
Then you get the app on whatever device you're trying to view on.
Mm-hmm. Or you can even just share a hyperlink to somebody else and they can control your screen.
That's cool.
Or vice versa. Like it's pretty cool.
So what we're saying is you're about to launch just a remote in service.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Sell studio time.
That'd be cool, actually. Yeah, you want me to engineer your session for you? I can do that from my iPad. Let me know.
Let me know. I use something like that. I have a Windows machine at home and Android tablet, so like the complete opposite of your ecosystem. But for when I'm doing I've not used it for any audio programs, but for like visual design, for like 3D sculpting and animating and stuff, I use something called Super Display, which seems pretty similar. With the problem with it is the CPU load is pretty high. So I'd be interested to see if that is only in the Apple ecosystem or if it's available for other things. But
well, let's see. I was looking for the most vivid OLED.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Have you seen... Did you watch the LTT where you got the TCL from China?
No. I haven't watched much LTT lately. Not because they're just not getting recommended to me nearly as much.
Because they're not watching.
It's a weird loophole, isn't it?
It is.
So, Jump Desktop.
It says there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Windows.
I don't see Android there, though. But if it's just as simple as a link and you can run it in a browser.
For iOS,
then it should
for
be
Mac,
fine still.
for Windows. Low latency, fluid remote desktop protocol. Yeah, I mean,
This is a free app? Oh, no.
No, it costs... Let's actually see what it costs, because it's been a minute. Oh, this is $34.99.
That's not bad for a long-term solution.
I must have got it on sale, because I paid $7.99 for it. And I think the desktop is free. You just get it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't quote me on that.
And it is so responsive.
It's very responsive. Like, I was literally a 10-hour drive away, and it was like I was sitting in front of my computer, even with my audio movers link. And like, there was a half-second delay, but not even that, actually. Was it 0.05 seconds? I don't know, but it felt fast. Felt faster than like a slow computer.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
So if you have even the slightest amount of patience, like I was editing on it. I was editing drums with it. I was editing MIDI with it. I tuned vocals with it. I did just a couple videos with it, like getting into Resolve on my machine.
Exactly. I didn't even think about that aspect. That would be so handy too.
Yeah. I did a lot of Photoshop work with it.
Yeah.
Because it was super handy.
I've made the full switch to YouTube Music. Been using that exclusively.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah. Do you know, does it add anything to it? Or is it just streaming at a higher bit rate and that's why it sounds so much better? Because it's not only...
like the difference from that to Spotify? Mm-hmm. Okay, so YouTube Music streams, I believe, AACs. It's like already like a lossless compression format, and it does sound way better than Spotify.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of egregious how bad Spotify sounds.
In comparison, yeah. Spotify, and it just sounds so weak and compressed in comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm scrolling to find mine.
We could talk about Apple Music in the next one.
Oh, see, I have yet to use Apple Music since the first iPhone I got, which was, I think, the iPhone 4. Mm-hmm. One of the OGs of iPhone.
You're going way back.
Yeah, because I forgot what this one's called, and I thought I saved it to a playlist, but I did not.
Oh, by the way, camera overheated. Jump is cool. Oh, we're going to jump into record racks.
Yes, I got it.
Go for it.
Okay.
Do it.
So, my recommendation for this episode is Choke by I Prevail.
Okay.
Have you listened to much I Prevail or?
A little bit, yeah. It's on my workout playlist.
Yeah. So I came across this one, and it's nothing groundbreaking, but just kind of their tonal choices of the intro guitar and like juxtaposition of the really heavy rhythm stuff is what got me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Shotgun snare.
And then it has a cool breakdown, like all these metalcore style songs have. But that one, Choke, was just on repeat for me for a couple weeks. just every time I'm walking to the gym, that's like the first song I put on. And I don't know why that guitar part stuck out to me so much, but I really like it. So if you haven't listened to Choke by I Prevail, maybe go check it out. See if you're into it.
I'm going to give like a two-parter. Like it's music and a movie.
Interesting.
So I guess I'm recommending a soundtrack. It's from the movie The Way. You ever seen it?
I've not.
Okay.
Do you know The Way?
It's my favorite movie. But the soundtrack probably won't mean much to you if you haven't seen the movie, but maybe it will. Tyler Bates scored the whole thing. Like, I guess just a vibe.
It is.
And like, it's the whole thing takes place on the Santiago de Compostela. I'm probably saying that way wrong. Sorry. But like, it's very much about travel and like transition. And the soundtrack is really good.
All instrumental?
And not all instrumental. There's some things that are like there's some James Taylor on there. There's a lot of like very much world music style things. Like,
oh, very cool.
yeah. So, but the movie is really good. If you're into watching a movie, The Way, Emilio Estevez and
Emilio.
what's his dad's name?
Oh, I don't know. I just know Emilio Estevez because of Night at the Roxbury. And they had a whole bit about him.
Hang on, I'm gonna find this. Okay, yeah. Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez, father, son. And the whole thing is like Martin Sheen goes and does this walk because his son, Emilio, started the pilgrimage and died the first day in. So
that is rough. Not very far in.
Yeah, he had to fly to France, like identify his son's body, then like finish. He decided like I'm gonna do this month-long walk, pilgrimage, and scatter his ashes along the way. It's really
that's
good.
pretty cool.
It's really good movie.
Nice.
And the soundtrack is good. So I twisted a movie reference into a song recommendation.
That's all good. Have you watched any new movies lately?
No, not really. Me
neither. I did finish Dragon Ball Super while I was down and out and sick, so I got on the anime grind a little bit. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a 4-year-old son, so I've seen the Super Mario movie like 400 times by now.
It is so good.
It's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it.
The Donkey Kong scene where like they're playing 80s songs because that's when it came out. Like, yeah. There's a lot of clever things.
There are. It's just as much a kid movie as it is for the parents as well. And I'm neither. I guess I'm a kid at heart and a doggo dad, but I still loved it.
And I'm trying to get you to watch Bluey. Like,
I know.
Just
I need
as much a parent show.
I need to sit down with my dogs and watch Bluey.
Oh, you'll love it.
I've heard that they chose a lot of the color design because it's what dogs can see the most. So
legend has it.
Well, maybe next week when we see each other, I'll come back and I'll have a few episodes of Bluey under my belt.
Yeah, we'll just review Bluey episodes. So we're just changing the show to like a Bluey review show.
Bluey Power Hour.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Let's go.
We never said hello and welcome. So hello, welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for sticking through it. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Back in front of the camera and with you and with all of you.
Back on the grind.
What should they leave if they've been here this whole time?
Can we make fun of you for getting sick and like put like something hospital related?
Hospital related indeed. Do it. Also, have you fainted? Have you passed out and hit your head? Let me know.
Hit the like button and subscribe if you passed out.
Or if you haven't, you're still feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. That's still fine too. We're not exclusive here. I don't have any other questions.
Me neither. Bye.